Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. A very warm welcome to this Monday, 16th March 2026 morning Srimad-Bhagavatam discussion. Today we are going to read from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 3, entitled The Status Quo, Chapter 13, The Appearance of Lord Varaha. Before we discuss on this verse, let's sing Jai Radha Madhava. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Prachajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Shri Radhe, Jaya Nitai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari, Jaya Nitai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमद श्री शिलाई से भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, नमाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय, प्रेम से गौ श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय, श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, मथुरा धाम की जय, गंगा माई की जय, यमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, सामवेद भक्तवृंद की जय. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Govinda. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya, Krishna Prishthaya Bhudale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane, Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine, Sarvam Shri Krishna Pranamastu, Krishne Matarastu, Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we're going to read from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 13, Text 39. Namo Namaste Akhila Mantra Devata Dravyaya Sarva Krutave Kriyatmani Vairagya Bhaktya Majayanubhavita Jnanaya Vidya Gurave Namo Namaha. नमो नमस्ते अखिलमन्त्रदेवता द्रव्याय सर्वकृतवे क्रियात्मने वैराग्यभक्त्याम जयानुभाविता ज्ञानाय विद्यागुरवे नमो नमः नमो नमस्ते अखिलमन्त्रदेवता द्रव्याय सर्वकृतवे क्रियात्मने वैराग्यभक्त्यात्मजयानुभाविता ज्ञानाय विद्यागुरवे नमो नमः. Word by word, Namaha Namaha, obeisances unto you, Te unto you, who are worshipable, Akhila, all-inclusive, Mantra, hymns, Devata, the Supreme Lord, Dravyaya, onto all ingredients for performing sacrifices, Sarva Kratave, onto all kinds of sacrifices, Kriya Atmane, onto you, the supreme form of all sacrifices, Vairagya, renunciation, Bhaktya, by devotional service, Atma Jaya Anubhavita, perceivable by conquering the mind, Jnanaya, such knowledge, Vidya Gurave, the supreme spiritual master of all knowledge, Namaha Namaha, again I offer my respectful obeisances. Translation: O Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead and are worshipable by universal prayers, Vedic hymns, and sacrificial ingredients. We offer our obeisances unto you. You can be realized by the pure mind, freed from all visible and invisible material contamination. We offer our respectful obeisances to you as the Supreme Spiritual Master of knowledge in devotional service. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. The qualification of bhakti or devotional service to the Lord is that the devotee should be free from all material contaminations and desires. This freedom is called vairagya, or renouncement of material desires. One who engages in devotional service to the Lord according to the regulative principles is automatically freed from material desires, and in that pure state of mind one can realize the personality of Godhead. The personality of Godhead, being situated in everyone's heart, instructs the devotee regarding pure devotional service so that he may ultimately achieve the association of the Lord. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita chapter 10 verse 10 as follows: Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. To one who constantly engages in the devotional service of the Lord with faith and love, the Lord certainly gives the intelligence to achieve Him at the ultimate end. One has to conquer the mind, and one may do it by following the Vedic rituals and by performing different types of sacrifice. The ultimate end of all those performances is to attain bhakti, or the devotional service of the Lord. Without bhakti, one cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The original personality of Godhead, or His innumerable expansions of Vishnu, are the only objects of worship by all the Vedic rituals and sacrificial performances. Before we discuss on this verse, let us offer some prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namashreshtham Manamapi Shachiputram Matra Swarupam Rupam Tasyagrajam Muduprim Madhurim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaram Maho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Adanandastranam Dante Idam Yachaha Punaha Punaha Shriman Rupa Padambhojam Dhulisyam Janma Janmani He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Well read from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 13, Text 39. Namo namaste akhila mantra devata dravyaya sarva kritave kriyatmane vairagya bhaktya majaya anubhavita jnanaya vidya gurave namo namaha. O Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead and are worshipable by universal prayers, Vedic hymns, and sacrificial ingredients. We offer our obeisances unto you. You can be realized by the pure mind, freed from all visible and invisible material contamination. We offer our respectful obeisances to you as the Supreme Spiritual Master of knowledge in devotional service. This is the prayers that are being offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. This is the beginning of bhakti. When one understands that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ite chamsha kala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Hridayanti Yuge Yuge. So in Srimad-Bhagavatam, all the descriptions of different incarnations of Krishna is mentioned, and then finally it is said that all these incarnations are either portions or part of the plenary portions of this person. Iti cha amsha and kala. Amsha is direct portion and kala is portion of a portion, plenary portion. So iti cha amsha kala pumsa. This is the person. Who is the person? Krishna. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Indrari Vyakulam Lokam. Indra Ari. Indra is the Lord of the heavenly planetary system, and generally this is the Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagavati Akinchana Sarvair Gunair Tatra Samasate Sura Harava Bhaktasya Kuto Mahadgunad Manorathina Sato Dhavato Bhai. So there are two kinds of people, Deva Asura Evacha. Vishnu Bhakta Smrita Deva Asurastad Viparyaya. So those who are devotees of Krishna Vishnu, they are categorized as demigods. And Asurastad Viparyaya. And unfortunately, the people who are not in the direction of rendering loving devotional service to Krishna are categorized in the Namam Dushkritino Modha Prapadyante Naradhama Maya Pahratakyana Asuram Bhavam Ashrita. Krishna says, four kinds of people who have done sinful activities. Dushkriti, Na Prapadyante. They don't surrender unto me. So that are the two categories of living entities in this universe. If you want to take it in that direction, a very generic direction. So here this is the prayers by Chaturvidha Bhajante Mam Jana Sukritino Arjuna Arto Jignasarartharti Jnani Cha Bharatarshva. Krishna says there are the pious people. There are four kinds of pious people who render loving devotional service to me. Chaturvidha Bhajante. This Bhajante is extremely important. Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Modamate, Samprapte Sannihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukran Karane. Very beautiful verse by Shankaracharya, Bhaja Govindam. He's saying that worship Govinda, worship Govinda, worship Govinda. And he's actually using the word Modhamate. Unfortunately, if someone is in a foolish state of existence where Samprapte Sannihite Kale. Samprapte is reaching, Sannihite Kale is when one is near the end of one's life. Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukran Karane. The grammatical understanding of Sanskrit is not going to help one from the innumerable, the seemingly non-ending cycle of birth and death. So why this verse was said was because Shankaracharya was walking in a street in one of the holy cities, and he saw that an old Brahmin was trying to learn the Sanskrit grammar, Dukran Karani, and that is what is there. So then this verse is coming out of Shankaracharya's lotus mouth. So this is the important part of existence in this material world, is that na sadhyati mam yogo na sankhya dharma uddhava na swadhyayas tapastyago yato bhakti mamorjita. So this bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschashmi tattva tato mam tattvato jnata vishate tadanantaram. Krishna says that only through bhakti one can know Krishna. There is no other. Na sadhyati mam yogo. Krishna says you cannot reach me through yoga. Na sankhya, not through sankhya. Na dharma, not through dharma. Uddhava. So he's talking this to Uddhava, the Uddhava Gita. Na swadhyaya, not through self-study. Na tapas, not through austerity. Na tyago, not through renunciation. Yataha, through which bhakti mama urjita. Without bhakti, to me, you can have all the other types of pious activities. This is what is called dharma swanushrita pumsam vishwakshena kathasuya notpadya dhratim yadi shrama evahi kevalam. Very beautifully mentioned in Srimad-Bhagavatam that one might be doing one's duties very nicely, and this duty can be sankhya, yoga, swadhyaya, tapa, tyaga, very highest kind of involvement in spiritual practices. There's nothing higher than those kind of involvement. Yoga, sankhya, dharma, swadhyaya, tapa and tyaga. But even those, dharma swanushrita pumsam, if one does not have vishwakshena kathasuya notpadyat ratim yadi, if one does not develop attachment, rati, matirna krishne paratas satova, mitho vipadyeta graha pratanam adanta gobi vishatam tamishram punah charvita charvananam. And so this is said by Prahlad Maharaj. He says that unfortunately, if one is situated in this state of constant sense gratification, then one does not bhogashwarya prasaktanam taya pahrita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhir samadhavana vidyate. So this, when one is totally attached to sense enjoyment, there is no matirna Krishna. The mind cannot be focused on Krishna. So the important part is man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi tvaevam atmanam mat prayana. Krishna says that give your mind to me, become my devotee, mad bhakta, madhyaji mam namaskuru, offer your prayers to me, offer your obeisances to me. Mame vaishyasi yuktvaevam atmanam mat parayana. So Krishna says that when you are totally absorbed in me like that, you will come back to me. Mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosime. So in chapter 9 verse 34 and chapter 18 verse 65, the same manmana bhava is used by Krishna. In one place it is Mame vaishyasi yuktvaevam atmanam mat prayana. In another place, Mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosime. Krishna says that surely you'll come to me, O Arjuna. This is the truth. Why I am telling this to you? Pratijane priyosime. Because you are very dear to me, Arjuna. I am telling this to you. So this particular verse is that verse where the glorification of Varahadeva is happening. Namo namaste akhila mantra devata. We can try and understand the word by word meaning here. So, first of all, Nama, Namaste. So, I'm offering my respectful obeisances to Akhila Mantra Devata. Akhila is including everything. Mantra is the hymns, and Devata is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Supreme Lord. So, he is so when there is this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti Shodashaka Namnam Kali Kalmasha Nashanam Nata Parataropaya Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. It is mentioned in the Kali Santarana Upanishad that when one is chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it says that it destroys all the impurities of this age of Kali. Kaler dosha nidhe rajan hi asti eko mahat gunan kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangha param rajet. So this is said by Shivadeva Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. He says that unfortunately this age of Kali is full of nidhi, dosha nidhi. Nidhi, generally nidhi in a good sense is some invaluable possession that one has, like a diamond or something that has huge value. But here the word dosha is used with nidhi. So it's interesting combination of word. So there is unlimitedly large influence of unfortunate circumstances and environment in the age of Kali. Dosha nidhe rajan. He's addressing Parikshit Maharaj as O king. He's emperor there. He asti eko mahat gunan. But he says that there is one great positive aspect in this age of Kali. So what is the positive? Kirtanad eva krishnasya. Just by singing the glories of Krishna, mukta sangha, one becomes free from all kinds of attachments. Param rajit. And one reaches that state of transcendental existence. Mam chayo avya vicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatite tan brahma bhoyaya kalpate. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that this avya vicharani bhakti is extremely important. That is, avya vicharani is unadulterated, pure loving devotional service. Jnana karmadi anavrita anukulyena krishna anushilanam bhaktiruttama. As said by Srila Rupa Goswami, he gives the definition of topmost devotional service, uttama bhakti. He says that what is the different qualities of uttama bhakti? Anya abhilashita shunyam. He says that there should be no other desires except to serve Krishna. That is the first. Anya abhilashita shunyam. Second is jnana karmadi anavrita. So you've got the jnana marga and the karma marga and the bhakti. So these are the three main margas or the paths. So jnana and karma marga is so jnana marga would mean that one is considering Brahman to be the supreme among Paramatma and Bhagavan. So Brahmano hi, but actually Krishna says Brahmano hi pratishtaham amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya ekantikasya cha. Very beautiful verse where Krishna says that the Brahman is established on me. Pratishta aham. So, and what is this Brahman? Amritasya avyayasya cha. That is, Amrita is without any death. Avyaya is inexhaustible. Shashvata again, eternal. Sukhasya ekantikasya cha. Real bliss and real peacefulness. That is Brahman. And Krishna says, Brahman is based on me. But from the Jnana Marga part, the people who are more interested in following the path of knowledge only, they would consider that Brahman is the ultimate reality. So then, and one of the aspects of Brahman is that Aham Brahmasmi, when a Jnani is saying Aham Brahmasmi, their saying of Aham Brahmasmi is different from a Bhakta saying of Aham Brahmasmi. A Jnani, when they are saying Aham Brahmasmi, means that there is only Brahman, there is nothing else. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. So, from their perspective, like even Ishvara or the Supreme Lord is coming when the world comes into existence. That is a Jnani's interpretation of the philosophy. And so they are, so basically their philosophy is non-dual, Advaita. But actually Advaita is Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Nava Yovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakta Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Real Advaita is when one knows that that there is no difference in the spiritual world between the spiritual body and the spiritual substance. The spiritual substance means that we are a combination of spirit and matter in this material world. That is why it is called Tatastha Shakti or marginal energy. The living entities are, there is a Jivasya Tatastha Shakti, Bheda Prakash. That is what is Achintya Bheda Tattva. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is simultaneously one and different. We are simultaneously one in terms of some of the qualities and minute quantity as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but we are different because the living entities are susceptible to being attached to the material existence. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is never attached. Even when Ajopi san navyayatma bhutanam isharopi san prakritim swam adhishtaya sambhavam atma mayaya. Krishna says, through his own material energy, which is under his control, Devi Hesha Gunamai Mama Maya. Krishna says, this material energy is mine. So it is his. It is under his control. So this is the difference between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the living entities. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman Tam Atmastham Ye Anupashyanti Dhira Tesham Shanti Shashvati Na Itaresham. It is mentioned in the Upanishads that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the chief eternal and all others are subordinate eternals. So they are dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are not. The Swarat aspect is the Supreme Person. That is Janmadhyasya Yataha Anvayaditaratascha Abhignya Swarat. So that is mentioned in the first verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam. That everything is coming from Krishna. Janma adi asyayata anvayad itaratascha abhignya. Krishna has to be known anvayad vyatirekabhyam yatsyat sarvatra sarvada. A very beautiful verse where Brahmaji is glorifying Krishna. The Chatushloki Bhagavatam. Etavadeva jignasam tattva jignasunatmana anvayad vyatirekabhyam yatsyat sarvatra sarvada. Etavadeva jignasam. This is what Athato Brahma Jignasa. This now is the time to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so that is the difference between Jnani and Bhakta. Jnani, for Jnani, there is only Brahman. There is everything else is Mithya. When they say Jagat Mithya, the Jagat and Ishvara are coming into existence at the same time for Jnani. And therefore, unfortunately, in that sense, once the Brahman realization is happening, then unfortunately that Ishvara is also unfortunately going into Mithya state, which a Bhakta can never accept. For Bhakta, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam, Yatantasya Dhiravrata, Namasyantasya Mam Bhaktya, Nitya Yukta Upasate. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, who is a Bhakta? Who is the actual devotee of Krishna? They are constantly glorifying Krishna. Satatam kirtayanto mam. Yatantasya dhridavrata. They are constantly determined to engage in devotional service, irrespective of any kind of circumstances. Ahayatuki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. There is no cause, without any cause. It is just natural. There is natural love for Krishna. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabonai. Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karavadaya. So it is not something external. It's just constantly, that love for the Lord is just unlimitedly coming out in that sense. So there is no end to that love for Krishna. It is constantly increasing. Purnamrita Swadanam. So every moment that Amrita is constantly Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam. So at every step that total nectar of love for Krishna is experienced by the devotee of Krishna. And so there, for the devotee, that aspect of devotional service does not stop with Brahman realization. Brahman realization is just the starting stage to know that Hiranmayena patrena satyasya apahita mukham tattvam pushanna pabrano satya dharmaya drishtaya. As it is said in Sri Ishopanishad, the devotee is praying to Krishna that please remove that glaring effulgence so that we can see your transcendental, beautiful, divine face. So this is so that we can get nourished by looking at your divine form. So this, the difference between Jnana Marga and Bhakti Marga is this, that in the Jnana Marga, the form is a means to reach the formless. That is Jnana Marga. The Bhakti Marga is the form is present even when one is liberated. And the difference between the form when one is conditioned and when one is liberated is the conditioned form is subject to birth, death, old age and disease. It is subject to coming and going. But the spiritual form is something that is never born and will never die. Na jayate muryate va kadachat. Kadachat is at any point in time. This is what natva evaham jatu nasam natvam neme janadipa na chaiva na bhavishyama sarve vaya atah param. Krishna, this is one of the clear definitions of this individuality of the living entities that Krishna personally is mentioning in Bhagavad Gita. He's saying that natva eva aham jatu nasam na asam natvam na ime janadipa. So there was no time when you, Arjuna, or me, or all these warriors who were assembled in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, there was never a time when they ceased to exist. That means they were existing eternally. In the past, they are existing now in the present, and they will exist eternally in the future. Nachaiva na bhavishyama sarve vaya ataha param. So this is param bhava majananta mama bhuta maheshwaram. So this ajopi sannavyayatma bhutanam ishwaropi san prakritim swamadhishtaya sambhavam atma mayaya. So Krishna says that even though he is unborn and he is avyaya atma, inexhaustible, prakritim swam adhishtaya. Krishna keeps the prakriti under his loving control. Prakritim swam adhishtaya sambhavam atma mayaya. And then he is personally coming in this material existence without being influenced by anything material. He retains his spiritual aloofness in that sense from the material existence. Even though this is what karmano hi bodhavyam cha karmana vikarmanascha bodhavyam gahano hi karmana gati. One needs to know what is karma, akarma and vikarma. So akarma is what, when one is in a liberated condition, one is in a state of akarma. Karmanyabhi pravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti sa. Tyaktva karma phalasanga nitya tripto nirashraya. So when one is not attached to the results of one's activities, karma phala, tyaktva, giving up the results, attachment to results, nitya tripto, constantly one is satisfied without any kind of reason. Generally, unfortunately, the conditioned state of existence, her satisfaction is dependent on a particular reason. The reason could be that one wants something and one gets it, so then one becomes satisfied for a certain period of time. Then another desire will come and dissatisfaction will arise because the desire has come and the desire is not met, so there is dissatisfaction. So how does one come out of the cycle of constant dissatisfaction and having satisfaction for some time, and then again the arrival of dissatisfaction. That is when one can know that this is the whole concept of the desires coming in and the satisfaction of those desires is based on material existence. So why? Because since time immemorial we have been taking birth after birth, and this is why there are innumerable desires. And the important thing to know is that the arrival of these desires is because of the conditioned state of existence that we are in. And if one can know that this is just external to me, this is not me. Idam na mama. That is one of the statements in Vedas. It is said that this is not mine. So when one knows for sure that this is what dehi knows mean, yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tatha dehandaram prapti dhiras tatra ramoyati. As Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, we are the dehi. So we are actually the proprietor of this body for this particular lifetime. So when we are proprietor, that doesn't mean that we are the body. And just like if someone is a proprietor of a firm, it does not mean that they themselves are the firm. It is something that they own. It is a kind of ownership, and it is actually, one might seem to have a permanent ownership if one is doing quite well, but actually everything is temporary in this material existence, because the body is temporary, the material, so there is at the macro level things are temporary, and even at the micro level things are temporary. So this is what is the nature of this material world. Dvandva, there is duality. So the material world comes into existence, that means it has to go out of existence. If there is happiness, then there has to be distress as well. If there is light, then there has to be darkness as well. So that's why the person who is surrendered onto Krishna, they are called Dvandvair Vimukta. They are free from the dualities of material nature. Why? Because they know that Adyantavanta Kaunteya, that it comes and goes. Yahi sansparshaja bhoga dukkha yona yavate Adyantavanta Kaunteya na teshu ramate buddha. A person who is really intelligent in the sense of understanding of spiritual existence does not get entangled in this arrival and the passing away of different experiences, because they are all part of living in this material world, the experiences, and it is affecting the material mind and the material body, but our original connection to Krishna as an eternal part and parcel is never affected, and this is liberation. When one can be established in this fact, this is what is Tyaktva Karma Phala Sangha Nitya Tripto. We are talking about when one is totally satisfied always, Nirashraya. One is not dependent on anything, because one knows that the only thing one is dependent on is Krishna. Nothing in the material world one is dependent on. Nirashraya. Karmanyabhi pravartopi naiva kinchit karoti sa. Krishna says, even though a person is doing lots and lots of work in this material existence, but he is not doing anything. When he is not doing anything, when one is not attached to the results, Tyaktva Karma Phala Sangha, one is totally satisfied irrespective of any kind of circumstances or situation. Nitya Tripta Nirashraya, and one is not dependent on anything. Then, even though one is doing lots and lots of work externally, someone might say that, this person, like Janaka Maharaj is a great example. He is the father of Sita Devi. He's an emperor. He's ruling that Janaka state, but he is totally detached. he is Nitya Trupta Nirashraya. Is totally satisfied, not dependent on anything, and he is not attached to any kind of results. So even though a person is performing lots and lots of actions, one is not doing anything. Why? Because ahankara vimodhatma kartahamiti manyate. Prakriti kriyamanani gune karmani sarvasha yah pashyati tathatmanam akartaram sa pashyati. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that actually any kind of work is being done by the modes of material nature. Mode of goodness, one is engaged in spiritual activities. Mode of passion, or the Sattva Raja Yuga, so Rajoguna. In the Rajoguna, one is in sense gratification mainly, and then in Tamoguna, in the mode of ignorance, one is in a state of indolence and laziness. So this Tribhir Gunamair Bhaver Ebhi Sarvamidam Jagat Mohitam Nabi Janati Mamibhya Paramavayam. Krishna says that the living entities are under the influence of these three modes of material nature constantly, because of which one does not know me. Mohita Nabi Janati Mamebhya Paramavayam. Doesn't know Krishna as someone who is eternally there. Yumam Pashyati Sarvatra Sarvam Chamahi Pashyati Sachamena Pranashyati. So he says that one who sees everything in me and me in everything, I am never lost to such a person, and such a person is never lost to me. Tasya ham na pranashyami, sacha me na pranashyati. So this is what is the reciprocal relationship. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyam. So whatever way one is coming to the Lord is reciprocating in the same way. So this is the beautiful verse here, where the Akhila Mantra Devata, we were discussing that. Then Dravyaya Sarva Kritave Kriyatmani. So the next, this is what, there is a particular verse in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says that Brahma Karma Samadhina, Brahma Arpanam, Brahma Havir, Brahma Agno, Brahmana Hutam, Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam, Brahma Karma Samadhina. So basically, everything in that sense is Krishna, like he, in the form of his material and spiritual energies. There is, so Brahma Arpanam, Brahma Havir, Brahma Agno, Brahmana Hutam. So that Brahman is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, in that sense. So anything that is offered, that is Krishna. Brahma Arpanam, Brahma Havir, Brahma Agno. Any kind of fuel that has been given to the fire, that is Krishna. Brahma Havir, Brahma Agno, the fire itself is Krishna. Brahmana Hutam, the whole sacrificial arena is Krishna. Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam, who it goes to is Krishna. Brahma Karma Samadhina. So whatever activities are done, if they are done with detachment, that is also Krishna's. So this is Dravyaya Sarva Kritave Kriyatmani. This is mentioning about all the ingredients performing sacrifices, and any kinds of activities of sacrifices are also Krishna's. Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam Sarvaloka Mahesharam Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatva Mam Shanti Mrachati. Krishna beautifully mentions in Bhagavad Gita that he says, who gets the actual peace? And there are three conditions for actual peace. First is knowing that Krishna is the actual enjoyer, Bhokta, and of what? Yagya and Tapasa, of all the sacrifices and all kinds of austerities. Krishna is the enjoyer. Sarva Loka Maheswaram, that Krishna is the actual proprietor of everything. Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam, that Krishna is the best friend of everyone. So if one knows these three things, Gyatva Mam Shanti Mrachati, one attains total peace. So this is Dravyaya Sarva Kritave Kriyatmane. And then the third line here, Vairagya Bhaktya Jaya Nubhavita. So the first word here is Vairagya. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam Shikshartham Eka Purusha Purana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shariradhari Kripambudherya Stamaham Prapadya. So this is a very beautiful verse glorifying Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What it says is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching Vairagya. How he is teaching Vairagya Vidya? The knowledge of renunciation, Nija Bhakti Yoga, by giving that loving devotional service of himself to everyone. This is, but actually, he has shown himself as the Supreme Person only to his very close associates, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He doesn't reveal that. Naham prakasha sarvasya yoga maya samavrada mudhoyam nabhijanati mamebhe paramabhe. So, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing his Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya, as Rupa Goswami says in his prayer that Krishna Chaitanya is Krishna himself. So this, so therefore, Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga, this knowledge of renunciation comes as a byproduct of loving devotional service to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna. This is what is Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayada Hetukam. As it is mentioned in Srimad-Bhagavatam, this, when there is loving devotional service to Vasudeva, son of Vasudeva, it is Bhakti Yoga Prayojita. It is the sum and substance is based on loving devotional service to Krishna. So then the Janati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayada Hetukam, the knowledge and renunciation very soon accompanies the loving devotional service. It does not need to be separately tried for. Jnana Vairagya Siddhartham. So there is a verse where for example, Saraswati Devi, who is considered the goddess of knowledge, a consort of Lord Brahma. So Saraswati Namastubhyam Varate Kamarupini Vidyarmam Karishami Siddharth Bhavatu Me Sada. So that Siddharth, that attainment of perfection, that is being asked for. So, but the important thing here is that Vairagya and Bhakti, they are, Vairagya or renunciation is a byproduct of Bhakti. Jnana, so this, if we look at if we go back to the Jnana Marga, the topic that we discussed sometime before, in the Aruya Kruchena Param Padam Tata, it is mentioned in the Srimad-Bhagavatam by Vedavyasa that the people who are in the Jnana Marga, who are considering Klesham Adhikarastesham, Klesho Adhikarastesham, Avyakta Sakta Chetasam, Avyakto Hi Gatir Dukham, Dehavadbhira Apyate. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, he says that Klesho Adhikarastesham, very difficult, this impersonal practice is extremely difficult. Klesha, there is a lot of trouble in doing the impersonal activity. Why? Because avyakto hi gatir dukham dehavadbhira apyate. Because in the current existence itself, the existence is based on form in this material world. No one is able to see the currently formless self, eternally part and parcel of Krishna. Currently formless because we don't know. No one has actually seen, in that sense, this our eternal existence, in that sense, unless one is in a liberated state of existence. When one is in liberated state, one is established in the fact that this is nimitta matram bhava savyasachin, as Krishna says. This is like an instrument at the hands of the Lord. And when one is totally established in that state of existence, then everything is being performed as an instrument of the Lord, and one actually is not doing anything. It is a liberated state of existence. And in that state, that is where the Jnana Chakshusha is there. So Jnana Chakshusha is that the divine vision through which one can know that Vidya Vinaya Sampanya Brahmani Gavi Hastini Shuna Chaivasha Pakecha Pandita Samadarshina. As it is mentioned by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, a real Pandita, a real learned person, is one who sees everyone as part and parcel of Krishna, irrespective of how they are externally. They do not distinguish between any kind of living entity in that sense. Internally, externally, of course. So there is a Vyavaharika and Paramarthika. There are two levels of dealing with anything in this material existence. There is a Vyavaharika level, which means that practical level. Because the practical level is in a sense equally important in this material existence. Because, for example, in the Paramarthika level or in the level of spiritual understanding, one knows that everyone is part and parcel of Krishna, but because of that one cannot go and hug a lion or a tiger, because one knows they are ferocious living entities in that particular form and they are going to cause harm. So one keeps a respectful distance from those kind of living. But internally one knows, at the Paramarthika level, one knows that they are eternal part and parcels of Krishna. And unfortunately, due to some reason, they got this particular material body now. So this is the understanding, and it has to be balanced in the material existence. The Vyavaharika and Paramarthika has to be balanced. The practical and spiritual, the spiritual existence at an existential level, and the practical things that needs to be done to take care of the body. They have to go hand in hand, because the means of practicing devotional service is through this body and mind that has been offered to us by the Lord, and therefore, to the extent of enabling us to practice devotional service, that has to be taken care of. Because if one is sick or the mind is not in a proper state of existence, then one cannot practice. So that is why yukta ahara viharasya yukta karmasa kaushalam yukta swapnava bodhasya yoga bhavati dukkha. Dukkha is, the yoga is actually going to remove all kinds of miseries. When bhakti yoga, yukta ahara viharasya, when everything is done in moderation, the ahara, eating, vihara, recreation, any kind of activities, yukta karmaso, yukta swapna avabodhasya, any kind of lying down, sleeping and waking up, everything, if it is done in moderation, then one can continuously engage in constant loving devotional service of Krishna. And that is the most important aspect. There is this Jnane prayase udapasya namanta eva, said by Brahmaji in Srimad-Bhagavatam. It says that the Lord cannot be understood by jnana. Jnane prayase udapasya. The particular verse says that don't try to understand the Supreme Person through knowledge, because it has limitation. So how do we understand? Namantaya. When it just becomes humble and surrenders unto the Lord. Jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiya vartam. Sanmukharitam. So the living entity is facing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in conversation with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in that sense, because one knows that the Lord is present without an iota of doubt. And then there is Sanmukharitam Bhavadiya Vartam. Then what is happening? Sthane Sthita. A very beautiful verse. It says that one does not need to actually give up anything. But what one has to do? Shrutigata. One has to constantly hear about Krishna. How one has to hear? Tanuvan Manobhir. Through the whole existence, whole body, whole mind, total 100%. Not the mind is thinking of something else when one is engaged in devotional service. Mind is 100% focus. Tanu one through the speech and mana through the mind. And so the whole of body, the whole of speech, the whole of mind, the whole of every senses and the mind. Shrutigata, hearing about Krishna. Tanuvan manobhir ye prayase ajita jitopyasi taistrilokya. So actually Krishna is called Ajita. No one can conquer him, but he becomes conquered. Jitopyasi taistrilokya. Actually he cannot be conquered within the three worlds. He is totally unconquerable. This is Krishna. No one can. But that is why he says, Mukti dadati karachit smana bhakti yoga. And it is mentioned in the scripture in Srimad-Bhagavatam that Krishna can sometimes give liberation, but very rarely he gives devotional service. Because once that pure devotional service is given, the Lord personally gets sold to that devotee. It's an unbelievable state of existence. Sudurlabha, that is why it is called. A pure devotional service is extremely rare. And so this is why the last line here, Jnana Vidyaya Vidya Gurave Namo Nama. Jnanaya Vidya Gurave. So the last line is talking about that transcendental knowledge of bhakti. Vidya Gurave. And he is the supreme spiritual master of all knowledge. Therefore that Krishna Ashtakam, the 8 verses glorifying Krishna, that is the last line always says Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. And that I offer my respectful obeisances to Krishna, who is the original spiritual master of the whole universe, through the medium of Bhagavad Gita. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. So that is the first verse. So I offer my respectful obeisances to son of Vasudeva, Vasudeva Shri Krishna. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardanam, who is behind the killing of this cruel, ferocious demons like Kamsa and Chanura. And he is giving unlimited bliss, Paramanandam. To whom? Devaki, to his mother Devaki. Devaki Paramanandam, Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. For my respectful obeisances to Shri Krishna, who is the spiritual master of the whole universe. And he's the first, Adi. Govindam Adi Purush, Tamaham Bhajan. So this is a very beautiful verse that through the mercy of the Lord we are able to discuss today. Namo Namaste Akhila Mantra Devata Dravyaya Sarva Kritave Kriyatmane Vairagya Bhaktyaatma Jayanu Bhavita Jnanaya Vidya Gurave Namo Namah. O Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead and are worshipable by universal prayers, Vedic hymns and sacrificial ingredients. We offer our obeisances unto you. You can be realized by the pure mind freed from all visible and invisible material contamination. We offer our respectful obeisances to you as the supreme spiritual master of knowledge in devotional service. And so the important point in this verse is Bhaktyatma Jayanu Bhavita. We did not actually go into the details of that particular line, but what that means is when there is bhakti, there is Atma Jaya. And when there is Atma Jaya, there is Anubhava. So when there is bhakti, it is not pure bhakti. It is not pure devotional service. But when that continues, when that persistent continues, then one becomes Atma Jaya. Atma here means one conquers the mind. Because why? Because the mind is absorbed in Krishna. Then automatically the mind becomes conquered. So Bhaktya Atma Jaya Anubhavita. So then there is Anubhava. Then there is experience of Krishna. Bhakti Paresha Anubhava Viraktiranyatra Syat Esha Trisha Ekakala. Very beautiful verse. We'll conclude after understanding that verse. Bhakti Paraisha Anubhava Virakti. It says that loving devotional service to Krishna, his experience, total experience, and total renunciation from everything that has no direct relationship with Krishna. All the three happens simultaneously. Bhakti, Paresh, Anubhava, Viraktiranyatra Syat, Eshatrisha Ekakala, Prapadyamanasya. How, when one surrenders onto Krishna, all these three things happen simultaneously. Yad Ashrutasyu Tushti Pushti Kshudapaya Nugasham. Just like when we have food, there is Tushti, satisfaction, Pushti, nourishment, and Kshudapaya. The hunger is no longer exists. And satisfaction, nourishment, and the dissipation of hunger, all the three happen simultaneously when food is taken. Exactly in the same way, when one surrenders onto Krishna with bhakti, the emergence of pure bhakti, the experience of Krishna, and the renouncement of everything that is no direct relationship with Krishna happens simultaneously. So that is what we can understand from this particular verse, that we can constantly, at every moment, try and glorify Krishna with our existence, and then it is all auspicious, always. With that prayer, thank you very much for listening. Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyate Deshatarine Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu Krishne Mate Rastu. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.